Welcome back to Grow With Me, Business, Wealth, and Health with Erin Helle. This segment takes you through all the things from skills to systems to mindset to goal setting and most importantly, dream building. After all, business is about freedom and wealth, but those are subjective and specific. So we need to spend some time figuring out what the dream is and then build a business to support that. That's what we're doing here in Business, Wealth, and Health. Before we dive in, I have something awesome to share. I now have a webpage where you can connect with me and get handouts from my segments on this podcast. Check it out at bcglobalinvestments.com/keeping it real. You can find my value proposition handout, a handout from today's training, and a link to book a call with me or to send me an email. Let's dive into today's training. We are talking about building strong client relationships. We're going to talk specifically about effective communication and client management. So these are essential skills for realtors. Client relationship management is imperative for you. Building and maintaining strong relationships with clients is crucial for your success in this very competitive industry. By the end of this training, you're going to learn some effective communication strategies, client management techniques, and customer service skills that will help you build long-lasting client relationships and generate some awesome referrals for future business. So let's first start talking about effective communication. So this starts with active listening. This is really important. It shows that you respect the person you're listening to. It shows that you understand them, and it really builds trust, which obviously is sort of like the benchmark here. This is the foundation of effective communication, effective client relationships is trust. So that's going to be sort of the underarching theme throughout this entire segment. So I want you to practice some active listening skills and techniques as you're going about your day-to-day, of course with your clients, but maybe just with your spouse or your kids. And you're going to do this by maintaining eye contact, nodding, asking clarifying questions, and summarizing what they've told you. I bet you'll find that when you summarize stuff, you'll realize you might not have been as clear as you thought. You might not have had the best communication. And when you summarize when you have someone else summarize what you said, that is made clear to you. And you might experience that same way when someone's talking to you and you return it and summarize what you think they just said. There might be some room for clarification. There's probably going to be. So this is hard. This is hard in and of itself. It's even harder on the phone, but it's still doable. So I recommend that anytime you get a chance to chat with your client or potential client over Zoom or Google Meet, take advantage of that, or even just FaceTime. Another thing that I really suggest that you guys do, and that will really set you apart from other realtors, is when you have an update or you need to communicate with a client, especially about something that's important, record a video of yourself. Record yourself, not just your voice. Voice is good if you're like driving or something and you want to send a quick message, because then people can't read into what they think your tone might be in a text message. But what's even better is a video of you talking to your video and giving them an update so they can see you're smiling. They can see like the ways that your voice is inflecting. They can see what's important. And then there's just no room for interpretation there. I'm sure you've all sent a text message where someone takes it completely the wrong way. And sometimes it can be hard for you to understand why that person took it that way. But what's important to know is there's not tone in written text. It's usually how the receiver perceives it. So you have no control over that. So don't dwell on that. Just realize, because you don't have control, switch it up so you don't have to deal with that at all, and send them a message. Send them a video of you with your smiling face. Send them a voice recording so they can hear that you're not, angry or short with them or whatever. Those will go a really long way, especially if you're someone like me who's very direct and just sort of like productive in my communication. And it can come off as rude sometimes, honestly. And I don't mean it to be like that, at least not most of the time. So take it from me, some tips and techniques that I've used to sort of alleviate that, because you might think you're being really brief in your communication and being really effective and productive. But then when your client is upset and you have to spend all this time backtracking and making sure they understand you weren't upset and they shouldn't be upset because of what you said, you waste even more time doing that. So try to send voice messages. More importantly, try to send video messages when you can, especially if it's like a big update. Like if you're doing new construction, your buyer bought a house and you went out to see the house, like do a video right then and there. Show them what you're talking about. Show them that you're at the site. It will really go a long way for customer service. Okay. Next up in effective communication is clear and concise communication. So we want to talk about the power here of simple and straightforward communication. Make sure that you're using professional language. Make sure you're using plain language with no jargon or slang, but also make sure that you're not using acronyms or terms that your client may not understand. Because if your client is confused, then they're probably going to end up unhappy or left in the dark. And that's the last thing you want. So make sure you are being not just clear, but also make sure that they're understanding the things that you say, and ask for clarity too, to make sure. So be careful not to be too direct, as again, this can come off as rude or unprofessional. So here's a couple tips for clear and concise written communication. So for emails, use a clear and descriptive subject line. The subject line should give the recipient a good idea of the email's content and purpose. Keep it brief and to the point. Avoid lengthy paragraphs and unnecessary details. Get to the main point of the email quickly. Use bullet points or numbered lists. If you're conveying multiple pieces of information, use these bullet points or lists, and this can enhance readability and clarity. Watch your tone. Ensure your tone is professional and polite. Avoid using language that could be interpreted as dismissive or unprofessional. And notice that word could interpreted, that someone could interpret what you're saying as dismissive or unprofessional. That doesn't mean what you're saying is dismissive or unprofessional, but it could be interpreted that way. So you want to make an effort to avoid that in your communication off the bat. Proofread before sending. Always proofread your emails for spelling, grammar, and clarity before hitting the send button. If it's particularly complex, or if you're just having a hard time being brief or getting to the point, have someone else read it to make sure that they understand it. Someone who doesn't already have an idea of what you're talking about, so that it's clear that it's very well understood from start to finish. Okay. Text messages. Get to the point. Text messages are meant to be concise. State your purpose clearly and succinctly. Avoid abbreviations and slang. While some familiar informality is acceptable, avoid using excessive abbreviations or slang that could be misunderstood. Respect the recipient's timeline. Be mindful of the recipient's schedule and avoid sending non-urgent messages during off hours, right? So if it's something that's not important, don't send it on a Friday night. Use emojis wisely. If appropriate, use emojis to convey tone or emotion, but do so sparingly and unprofessionally. Okay, so this is good when you are being really direct, or that this is a particularly emotional thing for your clients. Like throw a smiley face in there, right? Or if you suspect that the seller's agent is being snarky or something like that, and you are relaying a message, like put a little winky emoji in there or something, or be really clear about what you're trying to say. Include a call to action. Clearly state what action, if any, the recipient needs to take in response to the message. Okay, so moving on to client management strategies. So this first and most important one is regular and proactive communications. Regular check-ins with clients are so important. People are going to get unhappy or even upset very quickly if they feel that they're being left in the dark. So you need to be proactive in this communication and anticipate their needs and provide updates without being prompted. Even if there is no update, check in with them and let them know that, hey, I don't have an update for you. Like maybe on a Friday afternoon, I know we were waiting on this. I don't have an update yet. I will check in with you first thing Monday morning. Always make sure they know what the next step is or when they expect to hear from you next. Utilize various communication channels, phone calls, emails, text messages, and in-person meetings. Don't be the realtor that only texts. I know it's efficient, but I'm telling you right now, it irritates a lot of people. And maybe you have a buyer or a seller who appreciates just text message communication. That's okay, but just make sure you clear that with them first. Next thing is setting realistic expectations. So you want to manage client expectations from the very start. So be straightforward and honest. Walk them through the process and share what could go wrong or cause delays. Clearly explain to them the entire process, whether they're buying or selling. Make sure they know what the timeline is. Make sure what they know about any potential challenges. Keep clients informed of any changes or delays promptly. Bad news does not get better with time, so share things as you learn them. Referral generation. Let's talk about that next. Building trust and loyalty is, again, first and foremost. So you need to provide exceptional service in order to do this. Be authentically you. Take care of them as best you can and get help when you need it. If you don't know something or you're stuck, there are so many resources out there to help you. Your broker, your team leader, if you have one, other agents, you can reach out to me. Don't just leave your client hanging. Exceed their expectations throughout the transaction. Ask for their feedback, especially when you feel like their attitude has shifted. So the best time to get like a review from them is after they've closed and everyone's happy and on a high. But you can ask them for feedback at any point during a transaction. If you feel like suddenly your client's gone cold with you or suddenly they're really short with you, ask them why. Ask them what happened. Ask them what's bothering them so that you can come to a solution and meet their needs and ultimately make them happy. So when we are asking for referrals, as we build this loyalty and trust, we can now have an opportunity to ask for referrals. You're not going to ask for a referral from somebody who wasn't happy with your service, and you're not going to ask for a referral on your first phone call with them. Timing is really important. So the best time to ask for referrals is when your customer or client is highly satisfied. So this is the happiest moment. That's what it's typically referred to as. And they recognize the value your business has provided for them. Asking for referrals right after a customer closes or achieves a significant win from your services is an opportune moment to request referrals. It's important to strike the right balance and not come across as pushy or opportunistic. Timing is also crucial if you're asking for referrals through email. Schedule the email at a time when it is most convenient for the customer and likely that you will receive a response. For example, it may be best to avoid sending an email on a busy Friday afternoon when people are preparing to log off for the weekend. Don't expect a response if you send it at that time. Overall, there's no one-size-fits-all answer to the timing of asking for referrals, as it can vary based on individual circumstances and customer interactions. It is essential to observe the customer's level of satisfaction and choose a moment when they are most receptive to making referrals. You also want to utilize online platforms and social media to encourage referrals and make sure that people know what services you offer, how you can provide value, and what you can do for those people. Always, always, always be adding to your email list. This is where your future business will come from. If you're recruiting agents or attracting them to your brokerage, share that too. Share that on emails, share that in text messages. Send them a thank you and just remind them what they do, what you offer, and ask them if you know anybody who could benefit from your services. Our last section here is customer service skills. This really revolves around responsiveness as a realtor. So always return calls, emails, and messages in a timely manner. If you can't or you're engaged, let them know when you'll get back to them. Utilize technology tools like automation and customer relationship management software, CRM. Use your transaction coordinator or hire an assistant. Okay, so in conclusion, building strong relationships is an ongoing process that requires effective communication, client management strategies, and exceptional customer service skills. By following these practices, you will not only build strong connections with your clients, but also generate valuable referrals for your business. Remember, happy clients are the foundation of your success as a realtor. That's it for today. Remember to check out bcglobalinvestments.com/keeping it real and be sure to connect with me. Bye, guys.